No, AMC! You were the chosen one!
Anime industry, can we chill out for 2 seconds? It feels like I don't even have any room to breathe. It's like something popping up every 2 seconds that I have to talk about because things are just shifting so much. Sony buying so many companies, Bleach going to Disney, Disney signing with Kodansha, and yes, in the middle there was my one beacon of hope, which was Sentai Filmworks and HiDive. As we were constantly wondering what's going to be standing in the end of all this dust being thrown up. Which services will essentially dictate our enjoyment of anime in the future. And I had this hope. I had this little hope, this little glimmer of hope called HiDive. HiDive, please hang in there. Be the competition that we technically need because you're not Sony or Disney that will probably try to destroy anime. But dang, AMC decided to drop a little bit of news for us all to stress over. To stress over, let's be clear, stress over. Yes, AMC Networks has announced that CEO Christina Spade is stepping down from her position after only 3 months. And not only that, that's not the hard part. The hard pill to swallow in this whole situation is they've pretty much stated they're going to be laying off 20% of their workforce. And the reason they're stating is because it seems as if their hope in their streaming service doing well to offset the loss of all the cable bundles that people are cutting, the cable cutters, which I think most everybody in the world right now is doing right now because times are tough, and that's a really easy one to get rid of if you're enjoying streaming what you want. So with this, obviously a lot of fears are for the future of AMC themselves. Are they going to crumble? Is somebody going to buy them up? Or are they just going to cut back their workforce and focus on things like anime? It does bring up the big, huge question right now. If HiDive itself is profitable, thankfully, it will not be touched during this period of time where AMC tries to figure themselves out. But the concern there obviously is that AMC Networks, if they fall, HiDive falls. And that's something we unfortunately do not want. Unless they can possibly sell it off to somebody on the side, maybe the previous owners of HiDive, just so they can keep it around and just let AMC Networks fall. It's a really big question mark there. My hope, honestly, was that HiDive and Sentai Filmworks was profitable enough that they would be the one that would be essentially bolstering AMC's catalog. But this makes me believe that, yes, AMC themselves is not doing well at all. Now, yes, I know a lot of people are asking right now, well, does this look like it's prime time for somebody to buy up Sentai Filmworks while it's real super cheap? I don't necessarily think so. I don't see a benefit to groups like Sony or Disney in buying Sentai Filmworks and HiDive. I kind of mentioned it in my video about Disney. I don't believe that HiDive has anything really on their platform that's worth a company wanting to buy. They don't have big shonens. And typically, if you want to buy an older catalog, you're going after the shonens. Crunchyroll had Attack on Titan, Demon Slayer. Funimation had One Piece, Dragon Ball. And now Disney has Bleach. They have the big ticket items. They have the ones that millions of anime fans watch. Call the Night, Made in Abyss. I love them to death, but they're not big ticket sellers. HiDive is a small fish in the bowl. And I think that's for a reason. It's very cheap to get these smaller titles and keep the service afloat. And again, like I said earlier, I hope that that is AMC's goal. Downsize a little bit, keep content flowing, keep HiDive there, making its money, and then be profitable from that. It's not gonna be huge, but it is something to sustain yourself. So let's break it down. What would Crunchyroll benefit from buying Sentai Filmworks? Older titles, older licenses. Does Crunchyroll care about older titles, older licenses? Not necessarily. They let licenses expire regularly. The driving force for people to come subscribe to Crunchyroll isn't to watch Clannad. It's not to watch Prisma Ilia. It's to watch what's currently airing. That's what the anime fan wants. That's what they're subscribing to. Yes, to all the fans out there that want to watch those old titles, I support you. I support watching older titles. But the majority of the anime fans are watching the current now. They're watching Chainsaw Man. Their little time that they have in their day is not going to be given to something that nobody's watching or wants to talk about anymore. They want to go watch Chainsaw Man so they could talk about the latest hype that's happening right now. Well, what if Crunchyroll wants Sentai Filmworks for their distribution and their publishing? Sony already has their distributor. They have Right Stuff. Right Stuff was the distributor for Sentai Filmworks. So they'd only be getting the publishing group. But why would they need the publishing group? They don't need somebody to make physical copies of their stuff. They have Funimation's entire group that makes physical copies. Well, so they can get market share, so they can dominate the market. They already do. And whether HiDive falls or they buy them, the end result's the same. they gained the market share that they had. I would argue that most people that subscribe to HiDive subscribe to Crunchyroll. Now, Disney. What does Disney have to gain? Significantly more, but I don't think enough. As I mentioned in my last video talking about Disney, their focus in anime, based on their statements, their focus for anime specifically seems to be in Asia. And if they buy Sentai Filmworks HiDive, they're not going to get licenses for those titles in Asia. And even then, they would probably have to jump some hurdles to get that stuff moved onto there, because a lot of contracts will specify where exactly you're streaming it. And if that is in the contracts for all those licenses, they wouldn't even be able to move it to Hulu anyways. It would only be streamable on HiDive.com. And again, when their focus is in Asia specifically, they see to gain nothing from buying HiDive. And then when it comes to physical production, Disney's got that covered. They make plenty of Blu-rays. They don't need to have Sentai Filmworks make their Blu-rays. So again, from a vantage point of Disney, yes, they gain a catalog to possibly put on Hulu. That's pretty much it. So in the end, I don't foresee somebody buying HiDive Sentai from AMC. I don't see a cash out, unless it's super cheap and Sony just wants to kind of shoo them away. Because in the end, for these companies, if they want market share, if they want dominance, watching it fall is better than wasting money buying it. And Sony has already spent way too much buying Crunchyroll. They don't need to be buying anybody else. Disney has money to throw around, but again, they don't have any benefit to gain from it, really. There's a possibility that Hulu's department in North America might say, hey, Disney, give us a couple bucks so we can buy this catalog real quick. But again, they're going to have to look over all those licenses to see if it's going to be something they could put on their platform anyways. That is to say that if there's anything in Sentai Filmworks catalog that's currently on Hulu, that means that they do have the ability to do that. But we'll see. Do have to make a correction. It does seem as if HiDive is distributing out of the countries, apparently 100 different countries, including New Zealand, Canada, United Kingdom, Ireland, Australia. But how much of those titles they're licensing and distributing in those areas is the big question mark. So if you're in one of those areas and you think their catalog's pretty beefy, let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear from you guys. But yeah, that's the deal. Hopefully things turn out well. I don't have much hope for AMC as a whole. There's a lot of companies right now that are dealing with a situation where they're trying to transition into streaming services, and they're realizing really quickly that producing content or licensing content to distribute on that streaming platforms is very difficult to juggle. They all seen that Netflix pulled it off, but that was because Netflix was buying up everybody's content, and so everybody subbed to Netflix. So while they're trying to break off and go, well, we'll do it ourselves, just like Netflix did, they're realizing that balancing the two, both production, licensing, plus subscription, it's a very difficult task. And nobody's really pulling it off except for Crunchyroll. And that might change if licenses keep going up. But anyhow, let me know in the comments down below what you think about this whole situation. Are you hopeful for HiDive? Or do you think they're going to croak? I think it's going to come down to Disney versus Sony. I think that's the new deal. Anyhow, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, hit that like button down below if you did. Additionally, if you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you get all my content. I do news, reviews, first impressions, top list. If it's anime, it's pretty much here. Additionally, if you want to support the channel more, we have a Patreon link, a tips link, and a super thanks button down below. Greatly appreciate everybody it does. And y'all take care.